We're live. It is Behind the Counter podcast right here on Insane Games TV. Monday, September 19th. We're getting ready to go here. Steve, Mike, and I, and Ash is roaming. I know that I just said like 5 seconds before. This isn't gonna be a problem. Having me leaving him out. We're gonna see if he can just sit and like chill. He's chilling like a normal dog while we're doing this. Steve really doing chilling. An audio check. Are we good?
Yep. Yep.
I got the go ahead.
Yes.
The all clear.
Yep.
It's time to go. I was watching Stone Cold video today. Steve came in and interrupted me in my office, and I was watching it.
I even interrupted you.
It was a classic Rock versus Stone Cold verbal showdown in the middle of the ring, and they were singing a song. And Stone Cold used to have a gimmick where he would say something, and then the person go, "What?" And he'd say another version of what he said, and he'd say another version of what the audience would say, "What?" He'd be like, "So I got a beer today. What? Oh, I got a cold one today. What? I picked up a brewery today. What?" And he would always add like another version of what he's saying. And today is a stormy day today.
Oh, absolutely.
Stormy, horrible weather. And for some bizarre reason, we still get people that walk in here at 5 o'clock right when we go live.
It actually has been pretty slow when we've gone live lately.
It's what it happens every time. It literally happens every minute of the day. It's like everyone goes up. It's time. They're going live at 5. It's time to go in.
They're just browsers right now.
Okay. But yeah, so I did that a second ago because I was watching the Stone Cold video earlier, and I got the idea. Like, I'm gonna do a little Stone Cold.
A little Stone Cold. This is because Tom was sending the GIF around the other day.
Yeah, ironically, he did send the what GIF yesterday.
It was quite the GIF.
And it was.
Who do you think is balder, Stone Cold or The Rock?
Well, Stone Cold is traditionally bald.
The Rock is pretty bald, though. It shines in the light, his head.
I mean, The Rock doesn't have any facial hair either, so...
Yeah, he does.
He does have the people's eyebrow.
Besides...
No, he has facial hair. He has a beard.
Is he rocking the goatee for a little bit? He's not these days.
I'm pretty sure he is.
He might be doing the stubble.
Yeah, he does the stubble. It's like gray stubble. Yeah, look, he does. I think certain videos he has it out, and certain paper or certain stuff he doesn't.
The absurd Stone Cold.
When it's serious business, he's fully shaved, like completely. But when he's out doing like videos or whatever, he lets it grow in a little bit.
So that being said, does that mean that you're giving the Superior Baldness Award to Stone Cold?
I would say Stone Cold. Well, I don't know. Stone Cold has the goatee, so not really can say he's truly all no hair.
The facial hair is no substitute for a head of hair. A lot of bald men try it, but you're still bald.
I'd say Stone Cold's facial hair is better than The Rock's, so that would make The Rock balder.
See, around here, this is rock country. This isn't Stone Cold country, okay? I don't know. I'm starting to notice with Steve, a lot of things he likes to go against what he knows are the favorites.
That's a classic Dan move, first of all. So that's probably why you recognize it, but...
I mean, he comes in here and says, Batman vs. Superman is a bad movie. And shit's all over Mike and Tom. Now he's saying Stone Cold's better than The Rock.
I never said that Stone Cold was better than The Rock. I was saying
he said he was less bald than The Rock.
You said it. That's all that matters.
And I don't know. I might have to agree. I think The Rock is balder. Don't you think?
No.
So, I guess case is closed. Rock's balder. 2-1. Sorry. Stone Cold got 1 vote for being more bald, but...
Alright, Steve, you got a topic for us?
Boater sent me a text. He wanted to touch upon a movie that he made. Is going to be playing in Albany on Friday. More info on Nerd Glasses tomorrow night. It's going to be good.
Just a hot trailer, or is it the whole movie?
Oh, they're doing the whole movie on Friday.
A movie for what?
Movie Boater made.
Now, can we talk about it, or is it supposed to be a surprise?
Oh, we
'Cause
can
I-
talk about it.
I just have a question. Is it the space one that he was working on with Dave for a while?
I believe so.
The pilot one? I've seen the setup for it a couple times. It looked like it was cool.
Breakdown at 238 Hypatia.
What?
I don't know what you said.
That's what the movie's called. Breakdown at 238 Hypatia.
Wait, is this the one where they were in the spaceship?
Yes.
Could be pretty wet. So it's in Albany on what day?
Friday. It will be playing at in Albany on Friday. More info on Nerd Glasses tomorrow.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm very interested.
Speaking of movies and Boater, he did a he did a he did a post the other day on
What are you
Facebook
laughing at?
about the Rogue Squadron movie getting canceled. You just hit the camera.
Yes, he did.
Come on, Ash.
What Rogue Squadron movie?
Get over here. Now sit.
Wow, you took his ball.
I did, because he's running around like a madman. Like, did you not see him the whole time we're
Now
talking?
he's gonna figure-
bouncing his ball off of each wall like a madman.
Now he's gonna think of some other way to troll.
Keep
What
walking.
were we
pal.
saying? I thought he was gonna jam us.
Are we
up
good,
for
Steve?
Yep.
So back to what I was saying before. Speaking of Boater and movies, he did a post the other day about on Facebook. It was a classic. I wanted to say something, but I knew Boater wouldn't take it well if I said something, so I just chose not to. It was he posted on Facebook. He goes, "Oh God damn it! They canceled the Rogue Squadron movie," with a tear. I want to reply back, "Thank God," or "Good." No one wants to watch Rogue Squadron from Star Wars.
We absolutely
No one wants
do.
to watch Star Wars in the first place. Not
That
to
is-
mention Rogue
That is
Squadron.
wrong right there,
What
sir.
movie did they cancel?
Rogue Squadron.
I didn't even know
Exactly.
that was supposed to come out. Aren't they doing the whole
Knock it off.
Andor series for that kind of stuff? Or
Yeah.
so?
That's-
I'm surprised I didn't hear about this one.
But
Checkmate
what do you
to
think
Boater
Boater's
there.
reaction would have said? Did you see his post
No, I
on
don't go
Facebook? If I just simply put in the comments on Facebook, "Good,"
Probably.
he would have went off, wouldn't he? He definitely would have went off.
I don't know. I think he thinks that
Should I
everyone's
should I do it now?
entitled to their opinions.
Should I just put "Good" now and see what he says back?
If you would like to.
That would be pretty funny.
But I
live
commented on
result.
another one. I haven't commented on a Boater post in like 4 years. I just commented one earlier today or something else. So I don't know if I can give him 2 comments. That'd be a little weird.
That would be like you're stalking them a
Wouldn't it
little
be kind of weird if I do two comments on Boater posts in one day?
What else did you comment on? That's personal.
No, he commented that. Well, I guess it kind of is, but I mean, he shares that on Facebook, so I don't know how personal it is. But I just gave him a recommendation to do something, and
Do it. See what he says. You might as well hit him up twice.
it's done.
That's disappointing. Rogue Squadron got canceled because the games were.
It's done.
fantastic.
Let's see how
This is
Boater
classic
replies.
Steve now.
What?
He hates Star Wars, probably all the other ones, but he's defending Boater.
Let's see how he replies, and make sure you tell him tomorrow during Nerd Glasses that we sat here at the table and made the decision during behind the counter to say "good" to him on his reply.
I take that back. Steve does like Star Wars. He gave me a blue lightsaber when I walked in today, and he has the Yoda car and stuff over there.
I do. I have a whole bunch of lightsabers in my locker.
Does have quite a few ready to go.
I don't think Boater's gonna take it well.
Probably not.
I've seen his post on Star Wars and other things that he encourages people to hate on.
I just think it's a stupid movie.
You got into that one that we watched. Well, was it episode 2? No.
Which one?
It was one of the Star Wars movies.
Where all the people die.
Oh, he likes Rogue
Rogue
One.
One.
So that's basically more of that.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron.
But
was
I
gonna
think
be a
Dan
sequel.
only liked the Vader.
So wait, so Rogue Squadron is the same as Rogue?
It's
Rogue
like
One-
the same concept. All those people are dead, but
Yeah, Rogue Squadron.
What's the difference?
is-
Why would one be called Rogue and the other one's called Rogue
it's
Squadron?
essentially saying it's about
Wouldn't
the
they be
armies.
the same thing?
The Rogue Squadron is a battalion of X-wing pilots. Rogue One is
Oh,
just
okay.
it's just the group in the movie.
I see. That's why Boder liked it. It was the pilot one.
They had 3 games, one for the N64.
What do you
2
mean?
for
All
the,
Star Wars is flying around.
Well, not
That's
all
all
of
it is.
There's duels to the death. With
No,
a
I would
sword.
say the most iconic thing with Star Wars is the stupid ships flying around.
I'd say it's half of it. That is the name of it.
What?
Star Wars. So that's kind of what it revolves around.
Exactly. So why does Star Wars get the reputation of lifesaver battles over plane battles?
Where else is there the Force or lightsaber battles?
Where else? But that's not the name of the movie.
The main
name of the
driving
movie is
force.
exactly how you just said it. Star Wars.
And that's
Wars
always
up
a
in the
part.
stars.
When the first movie came out, the original Star Wars, now titled A New Hope, there was only one lightsaber duel. That was between Old Man Ben Kenobi and Darth Vader, where the majority of the movie took place either on the Death Star or flying around the trenches of the Death Star.
Stop it.
He's giving you a good old-fashioned breaking it down session right
Knock
now.
it off.
The Jedi and the Force and lightsaber duels were this mystical wonder thing that you never really heard about back then.
But it ended up being
Steve.
the most important thing almost.
Absolutely.
I have no patience for Star Wars. None. I think the graphics are horrible. I think the storytelling is horrible. I think the screenplay is horrible. I think
Now
the way
you're
they
just
present the
being a
movies
troll.
is horrible. I can even argue that the actors are horrible. The only thing I like about Star Wars is Darth Vader. It's really the only thing I like. And they really don't do him justice. He's never really the true commander of the he's never really the true...
Did you watch the most recent series? He was pretty absurd. Pretty absurd.
He's never really the true villain.
It's because the story of Star Wars is the tragedy and redemption of Anakin Skywalker.
But
Dan doesn't understand
Steve,
such thing.
the point is that everyone makes it... Sit. We're gonna do some training right on camera here. Down.
He's not going to listen to that far. He'll sit. But he
You
won't,
knock it off.
He won't lay down.
So my whole point is that you have Darth Vader, who's supposed to be sold as this big time villain. He's really not the head villain.
No, the Emperor.
Exactly. So he should be brought up more time. Now he's gonna try Mike. He's like, I'm not getting anywhere with Dan. I'm gonna try Mike.
What's up, boy?
The first 3 movies, episodes 1, 2, and 3, tell the story of the fall of the Republic and the fall of the Jedi by the hands of Chancellor Palpatine. Chancellor Palpatine is the Emperor. He played both sides and
How does he die again?
gets thrown down a reactor shaft.
Exactly.
Until somehow he returned.
We don't talk about those movies.
That's what they said in the sequel series. Somehow Palpatine returned.
We don't talk about that
It was
series.
in the opening crawl, and Poe said it in the movie. It was one of the most absurd lines ever quoted in Star Wars.
What?
Somehow Palpatine returned.
What-
They didn't explain it at all. They just had somebody say that, and then you were just like, okay, I guess he's back.
They could have built Snoke up so well in the sequels. Like, that could have probably saved the sequels.
Which one?
7, 8, and 9, if they didn't kill off Snoke.
I did like Snoke.
It was pretty cool.
I don't mind Snoke.
Dan's a big-time lover on anything that me and Tom hate, so he'd probably go as far as to say he liked the new Star Wars movies.
Well,
Oh yeah, they're better than the other ones. They looked better, that's for
they're
sure.
far more appealing than the old ones.
Episode 7, which
I
was
got better things to do
episode
than
4.
watch that old garbage.
Episode 8 was a decent movie in and
Don't
of
you
itself.
fucking dare,
No,
Steve.
if it wasn't a Star Wars
Don't
movie, it'd
you
be a very
fucking
forgettable,
dare.
decent movie.
What
Episode 9
was
just
good about
garbage.
it? To make it, other than the Star Wars stuff.
If it wasn't a Star Wars movie, it'd been fine.
Okay, but why
Get
would,
down.
what would it be about if it wasn't
Get
about Star
down.
Wars that was making good?
I don't know.
So-
I'll return in a second.
I don't know the mind.
That's
of
a
Rian
statement
Johnson.
I've seen that people have said to try to defend it, but I don't really understand what that statement means. It's a Star Wars movie.
It's a Star Wars movie that didn't really have much to do with Star Wars. Cut out all the Rey, Luke scenes.
I disagree with that, but I'm a big time hater on the movies.
They did fuck up Luke Skywalker though.
They did that. I mean, if you take out the parts that are cool, they have the casino scene, which was completely pointless.
Yeah, absolutely. trying to showcase that kid that was a Force-sensitive kid, and then
That's still a Star Wars related subject, though.
yeah.
They're showing that.
I mean, the whole thing with Rose and Finn was just discarded in the next movie.
That's because it was bad.
It could have been good.
I liked both the actors,
Where?
and they could have done it right, but it was so cringe in The Last Jedi.
I mean, that's just on Rian Johnson.
First of all, they had what's his name, Finn, full tilt on his ship, and then Sheik somehow comes by faster than him and crashes him off, and then kisses him and passes out. It made no sense. Meanwhile, the whole army's watching them do that.
That was on the fucking Blood Sand Planet, right?
Yes.
The one that was supposed to be Hoth, but isn't Hoth.
No. But that movie isn't copying anything.
What's that
Don't get me
planet
started,
called?
Steve.
It was probably
Crate
called
or something like
yeah,
that.
that's stupid.
What?
We're talking. Steve was trying to defend The Last Jedi, but he didn't know how much hate I have for it. In my...
Yeah, quite a lot of hate for it.
It really or derailed the entire Star Wars franchise for a little while. They're only just now repairing the damage it did.
Didn't the majority of the movie take place in a standoff with the
It was
Resistance?
like the slowest stakes chase in the sky. They were just like this. They were like only a ship's length apart from each other for like the whole movie.
And they decided to just ram right through the other ship.
And then they
call it
had
a day.
this one girl that was being mean to Poe for no reason.
Oh, the one with the purple hair.
Yeah. And then she just decided to kill herself out of nowhere. And it didn't. I don't even think it really mattered in the end.
It's just I can just go through a list of things that I just don't like about it. I think it's a horrible.
1 through 6 are
First off, Star
masterpieces.
Wars is clinging on to the past. Okay,
Oh.
they're trying to hope to the movies way back. No one gives a shit anymore. Okay.
A lot
If
of
they
people
wanted
give
to
a shit.
see, the issue is if they want to make a new story, that's fine, but just put it in a completely different time.
Yeah.
You don't put it in the same time as Luke Skywalker and then shit on his chest
We need
because you want the story to move on.
we need more Old Republic stuff
That would be very wet. They could start from fresh from there.
with
The writing's bad. The acting's worse. The stormtroopers are horrible. They're
What's one
incompetent.
instance of bad acting, Dan,
What do you mean?
that you have from the Star Wars movies? If you're gonna make such a claim,
It's stuff you guys see visually.
I could name some, but can you name some?
Yeah,
or are you
okay.
just or are you just talking smack?
I'm not talking smack. There's been many times where just the acting, the hand movement,
Okay.
it's awful.
Defend your position with an example.
I don't need to defend it. The writing's bad, and you clearly understand that with the fact that you have examples yourself.
So you're just talking smack.
I'm not talking smack at all. I'm simply saying that I think that the writing is horrible, and the actings are even worse.
Name one scene that was acted badly.
The fighting scenes are awful.
That's the best
That
part.
is- yeah.
That's the best part. They spend like hours doing that stuff.
The people sitting in the planes, awful.
I guess you could. That's just part of it. Where
You
they go,
can just-
ah!
You just sit there. Go, me.
What
Yeah,
else are you
that's what
supposed
you're
to
gonna
do?
What? They can make it more realistic than the way there was in the movie.
In the Millennium Falcon, they have guys hopping all around, going in and out of the turret gun, and
Yeah,
those are
that's-
just small ships.
And I can argue that the
Yeah.
missiles, the looks of the missiles aren't the ammo coming out of the plane looks stupid too.
the lasers.
The laser or whatever you want to call them.
late,
It's Star Wars.
Do
Dan.
the planes ever run out of ammo?
no.
So the lasers just keep shooting.
Yes.
I think it's on a battery type thing.
Yeah.
I think it would eventually die
Because they also have
But that never happens in the movie at all.
because it's an absurd battery.
How do you know that for a fact?
Because it never dies.
But how do you know that it's based off of a battery?
Because actually, it's a good question. I would just assume.
I mean,
that's
do
their
these planes just have unlimited amount of lasers? They just keep shooting and shooting and shooting, and yet these lasers happen to
That's
be able
not
to
the
kill
kind
any...
of questions you're supposed to ask.
Oh, I'm asking the questions, pal.
Photon torpedoes are limited, so
That's what they are?
no, those are the missiles rather than the regular.
But
lasers.
they
We're
have-
not talking about missiles, we're talking about the lasers
They
that
have
come out of the planes.
But that I think it's based off of like a crystal that powers it.
And
So you
they
probably don't want to
overheat
hear
it.
that, but they do have a lot of crystals they use. That's what powers the lightsaber as well.
I
They
know.
probably have a little crystal in there. that
Saying an
shoots
awful
it.
lot of things I don't think you know anything about.
In
I don't know about the guns, but I know for sure with a lightsaber.
in Rogue Squadron, the You can overheat your ship. And actually, Battlefront 2.
So if it overheats, it's probably an engine or battery or something.
Yeah. And for blasters, they have ammo.
No, okay.
Like
So
little
it's like
boxes.
little cartridges of
Yeah.
ammo then. Is it a battery?
I mean, on the E11 blasters, the standard issue Stormtrooper ones, it's that little pack on the side.
Mm. Oh yeah, I think it is a little battery pack now that you say it. So batteries, Dan.
It's just a whole. There's just a lot of negatives of the movie. I'm sorry.
That's really not a negative.
How do the rebels win?
With the power of the Force.
Really?
And the redemption.
In which movie?
Any of them? 4, 5, 6.
Well, they really didn't win in the.
And with what
prequels.
assets do they have to win? They have nothing, and yet somehow they beat this big conglomerate, the Imperials.
Princess Leia was a senator in the Galactic Empire.
And what did that do?
She took a lot of funds from the Empire to fund the rebellion.
So pretty much the only
But
thing.
even with that, they got nothing. All I remember is when I watch these movies and I see there's like 5 rebels that go out and take on this whole monstrous fleet of Imperials or whatever you want to call them. They're all flying around.
After that, it wasn't
There's like
completely
1,000
over.
of them flying around. There's 5 jets for the rebels, and they can't kill these 5 jets. It's just the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen.
Well,
I'm
after-
sorry.
After
One
episode
could argue
6,
it's very unbelievable.
well, it's a whole movie about unbelievable stuff, but that's besides the point.
It's not really besides
At the end
point.
of 6, they killed Palpatine, and he was pretty much the only reason the whole evil thing went. So it's like when you kill Hitler, and then Nazi Germany was done, pretty much.
Yeah.
There was still some outlying forces and stuff that they had to finish out,
Yeah.
and some survivors of the Empire that went on to become.
So when the one guy in the Empire dies, the whole thing just stops? I don't know.
It didn't completely stop. That was there was nothing to lead them. No leader in particular.
Palpatine was the emperor of the whole galaxy.
And
Okay.
all like the generals and
cue
important
Kylo Ren.
people.
Kylo Ren wasn't even born yet.
He comes back later. Yeah.
I think he was born at that point, Steve.
Not in
It
episode
was
6.
not.
Who's his father?
You don't even know who his parents are? Are you being a troll?
Yeah.
So why are you asking?
So when Kylo Ren's born
Mhm.
from Princess Leia, right?
Leia and Han Solo.
Okay, how is Darth Vader not alive at that point?
Because that was after the
You're being
fact.
very wildly dumb right now, Dan. Wildly dumb.
So those people know that class never fought Darth Vader.
Kylo Ren never was around Darth Vader. Neither was Rey or...
So who's the villain in the other ones?
Palpatine returned somehow.
7, 8, 9 or 1, 2, and 3?
Which one's Harrison Ford in?
He's in the first one, 7.
So who's the villain in that one?
That was that Snoke guy, which is now what they're going back is a clone of Palpatine,
That's
essentially. That's
So
what they
Snoke
decided
never
to do.
existed?
He did exist, but he was a clone of Palpatine.
So it's not really a person then.
He's a
He
person.
was a person at one point, but then was killed.
I can't. This is all stupid.
All the clones in Star Wars are pretty much their own person. That's a reoccurring theme.
The clones are one person, and then the stormtroopers are an army of people.
So they have the same face, but they have a different spear, as Yoda said in one of the episodes.
Mhm.
Bam.
It's great.
You're running
We
your
have 2
lips,
minutes.
but you have nothing to base it off of, Dan.
There's too much science.
Well, then
It
that's
doesn't
not
make any
for
sense.
you.
First,
it
the
doesn't
Star
mean
Trek
it's
has more
bad.
science in it than Star Wars.
And
Star
where
Trek
are both
does?
franchises going right now?
Where?
Hasn't been a new Star Trek movie. In a
Oh,
while.
there's one coming, pal.
That's
Yeah.
just because Captain Kirk's a dick, I think.
It's called contract negotiations, but they're coming.
When they come out, they are pretty good, too.
Star
but not
Trek
as good
is
as Star Wars.
far
Agree.
superior than Star Wars.
That's not true.
I know up in like Ticonderoga area, there's a whole museum that's the USS Enterprise.
Johnny's area? Yikes.
So you say you
Johnny
like Star
hangs
Trek.
out there all the time, from what I've heard. What? Johnny's a regular at the Star Wars or Star Trek museum. I think I even sent that out once before, didn't I? They had a big thing there, and I sent it out. Were you the first one in line?
Yeah, and you tried to make a joke, but it wasn't funny.
I
You
thought
got
it was
roasted
hilarious.
by
My jokes are
everybody.
always funny.
Didn't- Johnny roasted you particularly hard.
Not particularly at all.
You can say you like Star Trek, pal, but you never even
I mean,
watched
the
the origins.
gravity in Star Wars doesn't make any sense. Explain the gravity.
You don't even know who Spock is, probably.
Oh, I know who Spock is.
The gravity of what?
Star Wars. There's too much gravity.
What does that mean? There's gravity in what?
There's
What do you
gravity.
mean exactly? when
I
you say
mean,
that?
everywhere you go, they're just floating around, and things are doing this. Things can just fly in the air. Like, there's just way too much
When they're in
stuff that
space,
just doesn't make any sense.
They float, but when they're on a planet, they walk.
Yeah. Each
No.
ship has kind of like the spaceships up in space right now.
No.
They have a gravity thing.
I'm very confused by you, Dan.
And there are some planets that no creature can go on. That they need oxygen and stuff.
Fucking apologize, Dan.
I'm not gonna apologize.
The new Tales of the Jedi, that
That's
show
gonna be
looks-
dripping wet.
Absolutely.
Did you see the new one coming out, Dan?
No.
It's a cartoon one
It's
about the young days of Count Dooku and Mace Windu.
Who?
You don't know who Count Dooku is?
No, I know who Mace Mandu is.
That's the Mace Mandu. That's like that's Mace and Mandalorian.
Isn't Mace Mandu Sam L. Jackson?
yeah,
Mace Windu.
is-
What did I just say?
Mace Mandu. The Windalorian.
As Mike would say, Sam Jackson! No one calls him Sam Jackson.
Sammy Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson.
I'm
This
sure.
is in our movie, Sam Jackson. I'd be like, who?
I'm sure his friends call him that, and I can.
No one calls him
that.
No one.
Sam.
If
Jackson.
you like Sam Jackson, that's what would come up in the credits of all
It's
his
because
movies,
it's
but
a
it
name
doesn't.
that's come up a
It comes
lot.
up Samuel, then the J, then Jackson.
No one calls him Samuel.
Oh, I bet they do.
Samuel, do you need anything to drink?
Any more shit talk we have in Star Wars? Because this is Star. I love nothing more.
You haven't looked good so far.
I
so-
love nothing more than talking shit on stuff that people I know crave for. Just like with Tom and Mike's fascination with Game of Thrones and how they spent 8 years fascinating over this
I
TV
didn't
show
spend that long.
just for them just to take the knife and stick it in both their backs and give them what they thought was an awful season, which I thought was a great season. Okay, I love nothing more than walking in here and talking shit on Star Wars because it aggravates so many people.
It's
The
not
worst. Let me tell you what the worst thing about Star Wars is. The fan base. That's what the word.
Yeah,
People
I
need
can
to
agree.
grow up, okay? It is Star Wars. You need to grow up. You need to get off the Reddit, the Star Wars Reddit.
You just
the
said
Star
you just
Wars-
went
the
for like
Star
a half an hour about it being bad, and now you're gonna say you need
The
to-
Star Wars fandom websites, you guys go into conspiracy talks about what is this and what's really that. You know how many people probably sat here and talked about how the planes get their ammo and probably had inland conversations for months with paragraphs about how these planes can shoot their ammos and because they have.
You're the
crystal-
only one asking
It's
that
ridiculous.
question, Dan.
It's a simple question that I'm sure people in the way depths of the internet and Reddit or whatever
I don't even know what you're
have
talking about.
paragraphs of conversations talking about. People need to grow up with Star Wars. That's what I can't stand about Star Wars.
You need to grow up.
Not
pal.
really.
And going back to Game of Thrones, it's a fact that you're fucking wrong that that's a good season, the last one.
I thought the
Not
season
only
was
was it
great.
the lowest ranking season on anything that was shown, it tanked the rating of the show beneath a bunch of them. Overall show became bad because of one season.
I've only seen a few scenes from the Game of Thrones. And it's
People
those
lost
scenes
their
that you-
jobs for that season, Dan. It's a fucking fact that it stung.
Well, as a guy who gets a live entertainment out of TV shows, which is a big week this week, all the fall shows start back up. Okay, I thought it was a great season. They brought a lot of
So
characters
that's
together.
fine if you liked it, but that means you like shit.
I'm a fan of reunions, so when characters who haven't seen each other in 5 seasons reunite, I think that's interesting.
They've done that. That had nothing to do
I
with
thought
that
it was
season.
great with all the people fighting in the castle. I thought it was great the way they presented it. A couple things didn't make any sense. The whole Daenerys.
So that's just okay.
The whole Daenerys having the dragons. It can't go down and kill people. I thought that whole scene was stupid.
So you right there say the couple of scenes just
Oh, there were
straight up
some of them that made
just didn't
absolutely
make
no sense.
This is a whole show that prided itself on everything making sense. So that's why it's bad.
There's a few things that don't make sense, but overall, I would give the season an 82.
That's
It really,
absurdly generous.
The only failures of I didn't like what they did with Jamie or Cersei.
You've been quoted on
Or-
yours before as saying you hate 6-episode seasons. Am I right? Well, they did that for no reason.
Mike, now you unplugged it.
No.
What you got going on over here?
And I don't want to pull it all the way out.
getting ridiculous.
In fact, I don't even want to argue Game of Thrones with you anymore because it's like arguing with it with a child.
What'd you just say a minute ago before you hit that? What was one of your points?
I don't remember now, but it's a fucking fact. Oh yeah, you tried to say it was rated 82.
No, but
It's
you
like
said
rated like a 40.
No,
on
you
Rotten
said something else when the microphone fell. You gave an argument about something.
I don't remember. There's not much to say on it anymore.
Good, there were the arguments that would tear it apart.
I'm sure it was going to be wicked stupid what you said. And we can say...
What did you say? Yeah, apparently what you said as a point.
You said a lot of stupid stuff there. It's hard to remember what specifically I was trying to pick at.
I said something about I didn't like Jamie's and Cersei's storyline. And then you said something else.
I don't remember. You just
the 6th episode.
Oh yeah.
What about
you like
it?
that? You like that?
First off, there are like 13 episodes.
No, it was 6 episodes for the last season. Look it up. I'll wait.
Oh, but I didn't say for the last season. I'm saying for in general.
No, that's what I'm saying. You're saying this last season was very good.
No, I said all the seasons consist of pretty much 13 episodes. Was the last season only 6?
Yes.
I don't know. I think you're
So
wrong.
that's a good start on that.
I think I remember 8.
Look it up.
I'm looking it up, pal.
Please do.
It was 6. But all the other ones were 10, which is what I thought.
We're not arguing about
Season
the other
7
ones,
was
pal.
only 7.
The other ones were near perfection, tapering off at the end, but...
And you said, by the way, average viewers, for the record, Season 8 had the most average viewers.
Well, yeah, because it's the finale.
Almost double.
Everyone watched it and everyone hated it.
You said it was one of the worst growing seasons.
It was the worst rated. People
I-
are going to watch it because it's the finale, and that's how everyone knows it's bad. I would hope that people watched it before saying it was bad.
2.52 watched the first season. 12 million averaged the second.
That's because of how good it was.
You ever
leading
watch
up to
this
that.
Game of Thrones?
Only select scenes.
No, it's not worth it now because the
Oh,
last
it's worth
season's
it.
trash.
But we're getting a little too off topic here. We're talking about shit on Star Wars, not Game of Thrones. The reality
Yeah,
is,
you're the one shitting on Star Wars.
oh,
We're
I'm
pretty
shitting
indifferent.
on it.
And I just had to quick defend that season was trash because he tried to whip that in there quickly, and I had to go back to there and correct him that is factually terrible season. It's terrible
I
TV.
find it great.
Ask
I
the two
love
guys.
shitting on Star Wars. Let me tell you why. Because people just get so butthurt about it. They get so. They get
I don't
so
mind what you
upset.
say.
No, if I walk in here tomorrow at 7:45 and I walk in and I throw a Star Wars jab at Boder will get upset. And Boder is a huge Star Wars fan. Am I wrong?
Yes.
See now,
He's an absolute huge Star Wars fan. He will get upset that I'm and he would feel that he needs to defend to the life of Star Wars.
I think that goes.
And I did get a Boda response. He gave me the mean emoji. Good is what I put, and I got the mean emoji. So make sure you tell him tomorrow, Steve, on your glasses, that I was shitting all over Star Wars and Rogue Squadron. I hate that name. Come up with a different name. I hate saying the word
Well,
squadron.
That's what a bunch of pilots are. They're a squadron.
The problem is Disney's trying to make anything they can try to make out of Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Just make a Star Wars movie. Why are we doing Rogue 1 and 2 and Rogue Squadron and The Mandalorian? What's the other one?
Ahsoka.
Luke. What's the series with Luke? Isn't the series with
He
Luke?
was in Mandalorian.
No, what's the other one?
Boba Fett.
No, that one. No, what's the other one?
I think that's
Obi-Wan?
it.
Obi.
That wasn't Luke.
Obi.
Oh, yeah, it was
We gotta make
Luke.
all these originals. Who cares? Let me tell you why they're making all these new little sub-series. It's because they're writing in the movie stink, and they need to clarify it all by having sub-series to really give in depth what the characters are. They did a horrible job doing it in the movie. Bam! Take that one. That's
Yeah.
why they're doing all these sub.
You're just explaining how I feel about those old.
Nope,
about the new
that
ones.
right there, that just came to me on just out of the air when I was talking. Right there, they're
It
making
makes
all these
no
little
sense.
sub-series out of the air. My points just keep coming to me.
Well,
They make all these little sub-series because they did a horrible job explaining the characters of people in the original movies and their lives and how did Obi even become villains with Darth Vader, or how did Darth Vader even become? It's awful. That's why they make all all these sub-series.
They had 3 movies where they were best friends, Dan.
Okay,
They were brothers.
I'm well aware. And the one chopped his legs off and left him out to die. And I'm well aware how it happened.
He didn't leave Anakin to die. He left Darth Vader to die because Anakin was already dead.
Steve, he left. See right there, we nailed it on the head. We have a Star Wars junkie over here. He needs to quit. He left Anakin for dead. He didn't become Darth Vader out of the air, and he died. So Anakin dies, and the minute Obi walks away,
Never died.
Yeah.
he becomes Darth Vader. No, wrong. He becomes Darth Vader when he gets stolen and sent back to the lab, and they put the suit on him, and the one guy calls him Darth Vader. That's when he becomes
He was Darth Vader before that.
He was dubbed Darth Vader by
That was when he
Palpatine.
killed Mace Windu, essentially, when he sliced his arm off and he got lightninged out the window. He
was
made him bend the knee and he said, I know.
So really, Obi
Maybe.
never killed Anakin then.
Darth Vader killed Anakin.
First of all, he never died, so all this talk is meaningless. He got burned very severely, but he lived.
But
Right.
the soul of Anakin was killed.
He's the one that brought up his death. I didn't.
That is a subject that's up for debate.
You could see little hints of Anakin still inside Darth Vader, but you don't until the end of Episode 6.
So what's the purpose of a series called Obi?
Just because people wanted to see more of that actor because he's awesome, pretty much.
And it's
So they made up a story between the timelines.
Exactly. They're just making up nonsense. They gotta feed the fandoms what they gotta do.
They're
They
just
gotta
making
keep
content.
all the Star Wars people happy and keep them all pleased.
What's
and give
wrong
them
with
more
making
things to
content?
debate about and write books after books after books on Reddit about stupid stuff that
I don't
makes no
see
sense.
the issue with anything that you're saying right now.
I don't either.
With this part, what's wrong with making content and books and movies if people are going to watch it?
It's just repetitive nonsense.
I mean,
If
you
anything, it's been
Come
getting
up with
better and
something
better.
new in the Star Wars. Come up with something cool. Mike came running in here like a little girl. Okay, the first day that the first day of the episode, he came like, "Oh my God, did you see the lightsaber battle between?"
It
and he
was
felt the
dripping
need
wet.
to pull it up. It was
I
just one of
forced
the
him to
greatest
watch it.
scenes I've ever seen. And I'm sitting there watching it, and it's a guy walking in the desert in the dark with some dust blowing.
You don't understand
and Darth
any-
Vader hits the red lightsaber and opens up, and they just had a classic battle. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi was a little rusty, and then all of a sudden he got him power back.
So
and
he was
kinda,
watching the scene.
and he kind of threw Darth Vader around. But there was nothing like significant. Mike came in here like he just saw the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Do you want to talk about how Vader snapped the kid's neck and then burned Obi-Wan for like 20
and
seconds
who
in the
ultimately
open
ended up
fire?
getting burned at the end?
It was Vader. He was already burned before that, and he didn't get burned again. He just lost.
But what was so great about that scene?
Darth Vader
It was
gave
with that we finally
You
got
ready
to
go,
see
oh
him.
my God, Tom was all excited. Everyone was all, it is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It was like seeing a long-lost friend you haven't seen in like 20 years, and it was cool to see.
That scene could have done it far better.
a lot of scenes.
See, I
could've
should
been
got.
a lot
I
better.
should have. I always believe I should have gone into screenwriting and TV production because I could come up with a better. I could come up with a better screenplay for that battle than what they did.
There was definitely holes in that one. I enjoyed it. That was one of the ones that could.
Oh, I would
You
hope
could
enjoyed it.
debate.
You came in running in like you've never seen anything more exciting in your life.
Those two are my favorite characters, so I wanted to see it. That's why people make those stories.
Yeah, we get to see.
I have long, as much as I love Darth Vader, I have long argued that they made him powerless. They never made him a true villain. They could have done far more than what he did.
Very absurd.
Far more.
Well, the
Very
fact
absurd.
that he was trapped in that mechanical suit, he never actually reached his full potential.
Let's remember, I argue that Lord Voldemort is more powerful and a better villain than Darth Vader. Remember that. I argue that, and I come up with very good points with
You
it.
didn't come up with a
I took
single
Boner
good
and I
point.
slapped him around with those little arguments about that.
Pretty
Boner
much.
was crying over trying to argue that Darth Vader. Boner was crying just because he had to argue it in the first place. Not to mention his point. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, you could not believe or even understand that I was trying to say Lord Voldemort is more powerful than Darth Vader.
Well, like you said,
And I still stand by that argument.
he was
Voldemort-
killed by kids.
Yeah,
He was killed by the most powerful wizard
A
in
child.
all of Hogwarts.
Was he or was he not a child?
he was a child.
He was a teenager.
a child.
That was by far the most powerful
hadn't-
wizard to go through the entire book.
What do you call someone who hasn't graduated high school yet? You call him a child.
How did so?
So
What about all the people Obi-Wan Kenobi killed when he was a teenager?
he was never a teenager in the show.
Didn't he become a...
He was like 25 in his first appearance.
Yeah,
None about that.
he was a Padawan under Liam Neeson
You
himself.
don't even know. You see, he disagrees with what Mike says, and Mike disagrees
He's
with Steve
correct,
says.
he is correct.
They're trying to make it seem like they're the best one. It's an awful series, and I just forbid
boy.
to talk about it.
Dan is over here shitting on Star Wars for like the last 30 minutes.
And he's
This is
another one.
absurd.
I'm sure he's another Star Wars junkie who sits down and reads paragraphs of books on Reddit about the back channels of Star Wars and all the arguments of how the planes fly and how it's ridiculous.
I mean,
People
if
need
you-
wake up calls. All the Star Wars fans need. That's when people hate Star Wars. That's one of the number one reasons right there. It's because of all the people who are Star Wars fans.
But you just
They're
said
ridiculous.
you hate Star Wars.
I do hate Star Wars.
So
My
you're part
number
of the
one-
problem then.
No, my number one thing, the reason why I don't like Star Wars is because of all the fans.
But you're a fan then.
I'm not a fan.
And you're being a toxic one by saying what you're saying.
No,
You're
not
saying
really.
the show's bad.
I'm saying the whole series is bad.
Who went to see all the new ones when they came out?
I did. I don't get me wrong. I never said I wouldn't go watch
You're
them.
being
Just
toxic
because,
right now.
just because I watch them doesn't mean I'm a fan of Star Wars.
I love 1 through 6. I hate 7, 8, and 9. So everything you said on those ones, I agree with as far as your hating on it.
But if you're a Star Wars fan, Mike, you should like
That's
all
not true.
of them.
I don't have to be
So
a
the
blind
fact
lover.
That you don't like
No.
The fact that you don't like the other ones basically now are that you're not really a true Star Wars fan.
That's blind. That is
No.
dangerous for the whole
No,
thing to be
just like
blindly
I would argue, you're not a
lover.
true Game of Thrones fan if you don't like season 8. If you don't like the way season 8 ended, then you shouldn't be calling yourself a Game of Thrones fan. Sorry,
You can
hit
be a
the
fan
road.
of something
You
and
can't
decide
be a
you
Game
don't
of
like
Thrones
a part
fan
of it.
from 1 through 7 and not a fan of 8. That makes no sense. That's like me saying, oh, you know what, I'm a Jeff Gordon fan until 2001, but now I'm not a Jeff Gordon fan after 2001 because he never won a title again. That's ridiculous.
That
You
has
could say that if you wanted to.
No.
People would be.
nothing to do with it, though.
That's like Nico saying he's a Michigan State fan only when they're in the top 4, but he's not a fan when they're not in the top 4. You can't pick and choose when you want to. Either you like Star Wars or you don't.
That's not true. That's completely different.
You can like certain aspects of a thing and still like the
And that
thing.
right there is one of the true definitions of why Star Wars fans are the worst. Because you're going to walk around and say that you're a big Star Wars fan, but then you'll criticize, you go, I'm not a
Well,
Star
do you
Wars
love
fan.
Harry
These-
Potter?
These 3 movies. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
every
yeah.
every
Have
Star
you watched any of the Fantastic Beasts?
That has nothing to do with Harry Potter.
That is Harry Potter.
It is not at all Harry Potter.
That's like-
it's not at all Harry Potter.
That's the same
For the
thing as
record,
Rogue
I did
One
watch
and
the first
Episodes.
Fantastic Beasts.
There's been a couple after that.
There's only
so
been
that means
2.
you didn't like it and you didn't care to watch the rest. I still watched all the Star Wars. I didn't like them though.
And I watched all the Harry Potters. I didn't watch the Fantastic Beasts, but I watched Harry Potters.
That's part of the Harry Potter timeline.
What do you mean?
Fantastic Beasts.
It's
Dumbledore's in it.
a lot younger Dumbledore. Is Harry Potter in it?
He might
Exactly,
eventually.
no Harry Potter.
It's still in the universe, though.
Steve, I don't want to hear it. Okay, Danny.
Is like
His dad is.
in the new Star Wars.
What?
No.
You got mucked up, Dan.
Not really. You shouldn't be able to pick and choose which one you want to be, what season you're gonna be a fan of, or what series. or
That's
what
fine.
movie.
We'll all watch some Fantastic Beasts later on.
There's not. It's actually not a Skywalker in the more recent ones either.
We're gonna watch a good old Newt and the boys.
Alright, we got anything else?
No, I think
We
that's
turn this
it.
whole episode into Star Wars shit talk.
Sometimes it's nice to put Dan in his place regarding these things.
Alright, so that's going to be it for this episode of Behind the Counter. We'll be back here next week. We got High Five. We're going to pick up and move over to the other set here. Steve, Mike, and I are going to join Nico for an episode of High Five. Top 5 fast food chains. And then we got No Look Podcast up next after that. And then we have Monday Night Gaming all here tonight. Mike and Nico is heading down the Owen Road with Tyler.
We're not
and
talking
Jeremy.
about that right now.
I love it. I love
That's
it.
not part of the program.
I absolutely love it. Looking at the bottom 4 all on the Owen Road. It's great. It's fantastic. It's great. It's great for the league.
Yeah,
I
you're
I
still-
lost my quarterback. I've been screwed too, but I'm winning.
You're still projected to finish beneath both of us. In the
That's
long run.
I will not finish beneath. Let me tell you something. I am a true
Your
fantasy
team
player.
is falling
My
apart,
team
pal.
will adapt, and we will change what we need to change.
If you
and
think-
we'll be there at the end.
If you think you can fuel yourself on Carson Wentz all season long, you're extremely mistaken.
I'm feeling
pal.
it. I'm feeling a Ford title this year.
And if
I'm
you think
feeling
some crazy man's not dropping 80
here's why I
on
know the
Tua,
four titles in
on
reach. Let me
Tua.
tell you why. Let me tell you how scenarios play out for people who never had. Nico, listen, who's never had a championship. This is how it plays out. When you're all the way dead, when you're already 0-2, you're not going anywhere. When you're
Tom's
2-0,
won the title from 0-2
when you're
before.
2-0 and you're leading the leaderboard and you're cranking up all the points, at the end of the season you don't go anywhere. It's always, and Mike knows it, it's always the guys in the middle that win the championship. And I have found myself right in the middle. I'm going to be right in the middle. I'm 2-0 right now. But by the end of the season, by the end of the regular season, I'll be right in that middle. I'll be right in that 5th and 6th slot position. We're going to slide right into the championship.
I highly doubt that you make playoffs.
Oh, I'll make playoffs, pal.
You're having a nice start.
Well, I'll make my run for
admit.
playoffs. You'll be 0-4. You got Tom next week, and then you got Nate. Nate, those ain't
There's due for an upset, one of those two.
okay. And
I'd be
Tom
happy
and
to
Tom and
deliver.
Nate, who are just racking up points left and right, they'll be nobodies by the time the
Their
playoffs.
matchups get a lot tougher going forward.
Good.
Is it good?
Good.
Just like yours,
8
pal.
and 6. That's all you need to be to make the playoffs. 8 and 6. I can afford 6 losses.
Who do you got this week? Probably somebody easy.
I got Austin next week.
That'll be your first loss. And then the tears will start. And I will be probably salty myself right beside you. But at
I
least
am not concerned with that receding hairline, Austin. Okay, he can throw his Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers propaganda around, and however he drafted, whatever wide receiver.
I'm not even sure he has any Packers on
Him
his
and his
team.
fellow bald man Tyler, they're going to be going, oh, Tyler can be 0-2, Austin will be 1-1. They can cry their sorrows on No Look Podcast. I'm not concerned. I'll be sitting 2-0. Anything to say from the 3-time champ or the professor?
I play Devonta Adams next week, so he'll probably have 45.
No, you're on the unlucky road right now. Mike's on the shit road. His team stinks, and you're on the unlucky road.
My team will
Both
be
roads are on
just
the Owen
fine,
Highway.
pal.
It's the way it goes. All right, anything else? All right, that's it. High Five is up next. We'll see you next week. Adios.
Adios, Star Wars.